The House will come to order. This morning, the morning pledge will be said by Vincent Thomas McManus, Lucy Elizabeth Goldberg, Emily Zizueta Amperin, and Ureli Villalba from House District 4. Oh, did I miss one?
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Randall, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt. Baisley. Representative Baisley. Excused. Beckman. Beckman. Excused. Benavides. Byrd. Bockenfeld. Buck. Representative Buck. Excused. Buckner. Wintale. Caravale. Carver. Catlin. Coleman. Cutter. Duran. Escar. Exum. Excused. Froelich. Galindo.
Hi, guys. Thanks.
Garnett.
That's
Representative Garnett. Geithner. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Hanson. Harrod. Hooten. Humphrey. Jackson. Jaquez Lewis. Kennedy. Kipp. Kraft-Tharp. Landgraf. Larson. Lewis. Lewis. Excused. Liston. Lontine. McCluskey. McKean. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Janae. Mollica. Neville. Felton. Ransom. Rich. Roberts. Sane. Sandridge. Singer. Sirota. Snyder. Soper. Excused. Sullivan. Tipper. Tipper. Excused. Titone. Valdez A. A. Valdez. Excused. Representative Baisley is present. Valdez D. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Wilson. Madam Speaker. Representative Buck is present.
With 59 present and 6 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Rich.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just almost elevated you. I move that the reading of the Journal of Wednesday, May 1st, 2019 be dispensed with and approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. No. The motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Representative Weissman.
Thank you, and good morning, Madam Speaker. I actually have a couple of quick things. I'll just do it all back to back in the interest of time. First, Judiciary Committee members, we are not meeting today. There is nothing on our calendar. I don't expect that to change. I did just want to say thank you, everybody, for a year of diligent service and working hard on legislation that we have sent up to the Committee of the Whole. Second, I would like to acknowledge my predecessor representing East Aurora, State Representative Sue Ryden, who is back here visiting us this morning. Thank you, members. And third, I have a tribute, and I'm going to ask Mr. Randall to read the tribute.
The House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to Sally Hauser-Hanfelder. Sally Hauser-Hanfelder, Director of the Eastern Colorado VA Regional Office, is completing a stellar 38-year career this month. When Ms. Hanfelder arrived in Colorado 40 years ago, she inherited one of the VA's most troubled construction projects. 4 years ago, she inherited one of the VA's most troubled construction projects. Since 2018, Colorado veterans have been receiving care in the new state-of-the-art Rocky Mountain Regional VA Medical Center located in Aurora. Ms. Hanfelder's legacy will forever be that she got the job done. In addition to leading the VA Medical Center, she oversees an annual budget of $800 million, is in charge of 2 VA community living centers, 8 VA community-based outpatient clinics, and 1 telehealth clinic in Colorado. Over her career with the VA, Ms. Hanfelder has distinguished herself as a leader in serving veterans at locations around the country, including Texas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and other states. The Colorado General Assembly congratulates Ms. Hanfelder on her retirement and wishes her health, happiness, and good fishing in the years to come. On request of Representative Mike Weissman, given this second day of May 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Weissman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and Madam Speaker Pro Tem and members. I won't add too much more to that, but I will just note it's a special and uncommon kind of person who will bear the sacrifice to put on the uniform of our armed services and to endure the risks that come with that. And it is further a special kind of person who will dedicate a career to the care and well-being of those who serve. So thank you, Sally Hauser-Hanfelder, for getting things going with the Eastern VA, and we wish you a happy retirement.
Congratulations. Representative Harrod.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. It's an honor to serve with you.
And it's definitely an honor to serve with you, Representative Harrod.
Finance Committee, we will be meeting today. We have 2 bills to hear, Senate Bill 237 and Senate Bill 257. We'll be meeting in room 112. See you there. Upon adjournment.
Additional introductions or announcements? Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, we're going to proceed out of order for immediate consideration of House Resolution 1008.
Yes, we will proceed out of order for the resolution. Mr. Randall.
House Resolution 1008 by Representatives Neville and Sullivan concerning the designation of a portion of Colorado State Highway 470 between mileposts 7 and 15 as the Dave Sanders Memorial Highway.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move House Resolution 1008 and ask for it to be read at length.
Please proceed.
Whereas William Dave Sanders was a computer science and business teacher at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado for 25 years. And whereas Dave Sanders also coached varsity basketball and softball and was recognized as both a friend and mentor. And whereas known as a man who would do anything in his power to help his family and his students, Dave Sanders dedicated extra time to advising students, as well as writing many recommendation letters to colleges and helping students find jobs. And whereas 20 years ago, on April 20th, 1999, 2 gunmen arrived at Columbine High School and began an attack now known as the Columbine High School tragedy. And whereas, when the gunmen started firing outside the school, Dave Sanders ran to the cafeteria and sounded the alarm, and along with 2 of the school's janitors helped get more than 100 students out of the path of danger by herding them away from the gunmen. And whereas Dave Sanders then continued to the upstairs hall of the school and was attempting to get students safely hidden in classrooms when he was shot from behind by one of the gunmen. And whereas, though able to get himself into a science lab to hide, and despite the assistance of students, Dave Sanders succumbed to his injuries before help could arrive. And whereas, in the face of terror and without regard for his own safety, Dave Sanders' quick action was able to save untold number of lives that day. And whereas Dave Sanders gave his life to save others, and it is fitting that we honor the life and memory of such a hero, so devoted to his students, friends, and family, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 72nd General Assembly of the State of Colorado that the portion of Colorado State Highway 470 between mileposts 7 and 15 be officially designated as the Dave Sanders Memorial Highway, and that the Colorado Department of Transportation may accept and expend gifts, grants, and donations for the purpose of the initial placement of signs on Colorado State Highway 470 at mileposts 7 and 15 for the Dave Sanders Memorial Highway, and that the Colorado Department of Transportation may explore a cooperative agreement with the Board of County Commissioners of Jefferson County for the maintenance of the markings for the Dave Sanders Memorial Highway.
Representative Sullivan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I've met many people these past several years, and some of them I've gotten to know very well. It may sound a little odd, but I wish I'd never gotten to know Connie Sanders. If she had never gotten to know me, and likewise me know her, it would have meant that either her father Dave or my son Alex would still be alive today. Maybe both. But that's not how it is. And I'm so grateful for all of the time that I've spent with her. You see, I'm watching my future play out here in front of me each and every anniversary of Columbine. Death of a loved one is supposed to be a private moment, but both of us have had to share these moments in a very public way. I have a mass card of the day my dad died, and I raise a glass in honor of him. Connie's dad's picture might be on TV or in a newspaper that day, and she might be answering questions about how she feels throughout the day. I know that that will never get easier. I never got to meet Dave Sanders, but it's been my experience that daughters tend to take on a lot of the attributes and character of their fathers. I have seen in Connie Sanders so much strength, compassion, empathy, and determination that I am confident that those traits must have been handed down to her from her father. Without ever meeting him, I know that he was a great man. And as another father, I know how proud he is of you. I'm humbled today to have a chance to speak, and thank you all for being here. And I look forward to seeing the signs for the Dave Sanders Highway. Thank you.
Additional comments? Representative Larson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll keep my comments brief. I represent the area of Columbine High School and was a few miles away the day that that shooting happened. The live in the Chatfield area of my district, which my district is divided between Chatfield and Columbine. So I did not know Dave Sanders personally, and I did not know many of his students personally, though I knew many of my community members did. In the interceding 20 years since the Columbine shooting, I've heard many stories of Dave Sanders' character, anecdotal stories of how he was the teacher that everyone loved. And I'm sure this is a big moment for the family. It's a little strange it took 20 years, but this will be a great thing for our community. And this will, everyone that goes to Columbine or lives in the Columbine-Ken Carroll area will see this highway every day and be reminded of a great man and a great hero for our community. So I'm glad to be a part of it, and I yield the rest of my time.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I haven't spoken publicly about my connection to Columbine, but I've told a number of you privately, including Minority Leader Neville, that my cousin, Mike Rotolo, one of my closest friends growing up, was a student at Columbine and was a survivor of that shooting that day. And I really appreciate Minority Leader Neville reaching out to include me in this resolution today. My cousin, Mike, was one of the lucky ones who survived, but it forever altered his life. And he was in the classroom with Dave Sanders on the day of the shooting, and he wrote a quick letter for me to read on his behalf today. Courage, strength, devotion, selflessness, and love. Love. These are the things that Dave Sanders taught me on April 20th, 1999. These are the things I choose to remember when I think of Dave Sanders. These are the things that we all must remember. Remember the words, "Tell my girls I love them." In the face of darkness, there was Dave talking about love. That day, Dave Sanders showed me and a science class full of 16-year-old kids what true love is. Selfless, unconditional love. This is what I choose to remember. This is why we all must never forget Dave, and we won't. We won't forget that Dave Sanders is synonymous with love. Love. When you see the name Dave Sanders, think of Columbine and think of love.
Any additional comments? Yes, Representative Neville, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. So it might surprise you guys, but sometimes I can get a little stuck in my ways, as you might know. I had Mr. Sanders as a teacher and freshman in high school. And he was just such a wonderful teacher. He was no nonsense, to the point. He had his lesson plans organized, ready to go, and just executed them flawlessly. And we were doing keyboarding in his class, and that's what I was learning. And I just couldn't get up to the speed to get an A in class. I just couldn't get there. And he actually took the time with me, and it's kind of it seems like a little thing, but he pointed out that I was never using the left shift key with my left pinky. So I was only using my right one. And so I was getting frustrated because I got so used to that and so stuck in my ways that I didn't want to go back, because then my speed typing would slow down even more. And he made the point to me early that your foundation probably isn't right. So let's get your foundation right. It might set you back just a little bit for a little ways, but it will prepare you for the future. It seems like a small deal, but there's countless of stories we had through Columbine of how he had similar stories. He was that no-nonsense, to-the-point teacher, but he took those little extra time and that little extra time with a stubborn little Pat Neville. And if you think I'm stubborn now, you should have seen me when I was 14 years old. And I think that foundation just showed through him. He obviously had that foundation. That foundation that when you're not expecting the craziness, that he jumped forward, jumped on tables, didn't hesitate to whip into action, save dozens of my friends, I'm sure of it. Hundreds of lives at this school. And then I've heard the stories of people that were with him in his final moments, and tell my family I love him. To be thinking about that in such a crazy moment, and I'm humbled that I'm in a position to be a part of this, and having C470 be from Platte Canyon to Bulls, those streets kind of come into a cross street at Columbine High School. And it really hugs the area. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful that we can do this in a bipartisan fashion. I thank the majority for making time for this resolution during a busy schedule. It is really important. I've gotten to know Angela Sanders somewhat well through this process, and I'm privileged to know her and see all the same qualities in her dad that I saw in her dad as a teacher and that all my friends did. And I guess I'll just end with this. We are.
Columbine.
We are.
Columbine.
We are.
Columbine.
We are Columbine. I ask for a yes vote on the resolution.
Is there further discussion or comments? If not, the motion is for the adoption of the Dave Sanders resolution, which is 1008. If there's no objection, we can do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. This resolution is adopted. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors.
And that request is honored. Thank you so much. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I request that we go into a brief recess so I can introduce the family members and we can greet them.
Thank you. We will go into a brief recess so we can greet the family. Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, we are absolutely honored to have with us two of Coach Mr. Dave Sanders' daughters. We have Angela Sanders and Connie Sanders here with us today. Please give them a hand.
Thank you. We are so honored to have you in the house today, and you will always be in our thoughts. Are there further announcements or introductions? Oh, I'm sorry, we're in a recess. Are we still in recess? Okay.
House will come back to order. Any other announcements or introductions? Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I have a special young man here today from Johnstown, Colorado. If my Weld County delegation can please join me. Request that a tribute be read at length.
The House of Representatives convened in the 72nd General Assembly hereby extends sincere commendations to Benjamin Keller. Congratulations to Benjamin Keller for representing the United States at the 2019 ISSF World Championships in Lonato, Italy, at the 2019 ISSF Junior World Cup in Seoul, Germany, in the sport of international skeet. Mr. Keller has set 2 national USA shooting records, received gold medals in the 2017 and 2018 USA Shooting National Olympics and Junior Olympic Championships. He recently became the youngest member of the Junior World Championship team. The Colorado House of Representatives extends its gratitude to Benjamin Keller for his representation of our state and our nation, and wish him all the best as he begins the Olympic trial process for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. On request of Representative Lori Sane, given the 2nd day of May, 2019, State Capitol in Denver.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Benjamin Keller is a 14-year-old from Johnstown, Colorado. He is an 8th grade homeschool student. Ben was introduced to shooting by his dad when he was 9 years old. He began shooting competitively soon after, and within 3 months, he ran his first 25 straight and won an American Trap handicap competition. 10 months later, at the age of 10, Ben won his first state title, 4-H Colorado State Junior Grand Champion for American Trap, also at the age of 10. After 3 years honing his skills at ATA singles, handicap, and doubles, Ben began shooting international skeet, which instantly became his passion. In March 2019, Ben became the youngest member of the Junior World Championship team.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Mr. Keller is homeschooled by his mother, and this allows him time to travel for practice so that he can accomplish his dreams. And Benjamin would like to thank his parents for always supporting him, not just in shooting, but in every aspect of life, and making the effort to be a part of this with him. He's appreciative for his father, who works and still takes the time to train him in skeet, and he would also like to thank God for giving him the strength and opportunity to compete and make it this far.
Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have today, if you want to meet a first-class, outstanding young man, go over there and meet Benjamin. Madam Speaker, can I take a moment to introduce the parents and all?
Sure.
Okay. So to the left, we have Rebecca and James Keller, the proud parents of Benjamin. We have Bobby Lover, a cousin, Mark Rising, grandpa, Carla Rising, grandmother, Bob Lover, uncle, Joe Dickens, uncle, Terry Dickens, aunt, Oliver and Charlotte Keller, and Sembrenowitz, I was close. And Hannah Oliver, could you please stand also? We are just so proud and delighted to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, and what an accomplishment. Way to go. Representative Sane.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. If we can just take a very brief recess to meet the family, I appreciate it.
The House will be in a brief recess. The House will come back to order. Representative Soper and Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and it's an honor to serve with you on this bright, great day of Thursday.
It's an honor to serve with you, Representative.
So Representative Soper and I are here to invite everyone, if you have Colorado attire, to wear it tomorrow, just like Representative Soper is wearing here right now. Tomorrow would be a great day to wear Colorado attire to represent our great state. And with that, I'd like to hand it off to my colleague.
Representative Valdez, did you check with the Majority Leader or Speaker about changing the dress code?
Going back to the rule, Madam Speaker. We'll talk.
Okay. Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well, I'm just curious if Colorado attire includes Colorado avalanche gear, Representative.
Representative Esgar.
This is a question for the Majority Leader. If we're going to do this and say my Colorado gear might be a T-shirt, am I allowed to wear that underneath a jacket?
Representative Melton, lots of questions. Representative Valdez, you've raised a very intriguing proposal. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I guess I'm remiss because it's Friday tomorrow, which means it's bow tie, bolo, baby, scarf, Friday. So I guess if it's a Colorado bow tie, maybe that works.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Shoe. Listen, I think Representative Valdez and Representative Soper have brought up a great idea. I think Colorado attire can be Nuggets attire, since they need a little bit of help after last night. Avalanche attire, since they need a little help from 2 nights ago. And anything else you deem to be Colorado sounds like a great idea.
I love
Within
that.
reason. You can't wear like a Nuggets jersey without a shirt underneath it.
Or those mesh shorts. No mesh shorts. Representative Hooton. And Sane.
Members, we didn't have the opportunity yesterday to present a bouquet of flowers on behalf of our entire body, so we were taking the opportunity to do that this morning. So Representative Sane and I got together and we collaborated on a bouquet that we thought was very fitting for Chief Clerk Edens, and we're just going to take a moment and read the card to you that we have written for her. All right, I ask that it be read at length. To our dear Marilyn, no one deserves retirement more than you. We will miss you and your eternal guidance more than you could possibly know.
Thank you for all you have taught us and helped us over your 30 years in service. With love and gratitude, the 72nd General Assembly, Colorado House members.
We love you, Marilyn. I don't know how we're going to function without you.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And every day is Marilyn Edens Day. So I'm sure something will be coming tomorrow as well. But in the meantime, Marilyn is the voice of the institution. She not only protected this institution, but she also protected us individually as well, making sure we knew right from wrong, making sure we didn't sometimes embarrass ourselves, and sometimes we did it anyway. But she did warn us. So I just want. So we are eternally grateful for Marilyn Edens, and I'm going to have the governor proclaim this is Marilyn Edens Day. How about you?
Nicely done.
Thank you, members.
No, she's seen them. She's seen them, so we're going to keep them.
All right, Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for consideration of third reading of bills, final passage.
Seeing no objection, we will proceed out of order for third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 242.
Senate Bill 242 by Senator Garcia, also Representative Kennedy. concerning the creation of an emergency medical purpose service provider license in connection with specifying the specified emergency medical service provider may obtain a license from the Department of Public Health and Environment. The certified emergency medical service provider demonstrates to the department that the certified emergency medical service provider completed a 4-year bachelor's degree program.
Majority Leader Garnett.
I move to lay over Senate Bill 242 until later today.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 242 will be laid over till later today. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 244.
Senate Bill 244 by Senator Winter and Gardner, also Representative Lontine, concerning statutory changes to implement changes to the workplace policies of the General Assembly in connection with making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 244 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 244 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Baisley, Geithner, Larson, Donald, Valdez. Please. Geithner, is he here? Representative Geithner is excused. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes and 3 excused, Senate Bill 244 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 177.
Senate Bill 177 by Senators Janal and Heisey, also Representative Singer, concerning matters related to background checks for persons who have contact with children.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 177 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 177 on third reading and final passage. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't think I've ever had to do this before, but first time for everything. I ask for permission for a third reading amendment.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is amendment, believe it or not, only L002, but there were some technical changes in here dealing with Title 13. This bill primarily worked in Title 19, and so I'm glad this was caught in time to actually do the right thing and send this back to the Senate, where it will hopefully emerge one more time. I ask for your aye vote on permission for a third reading amendment.
The question before us is permission to, for Representative Singer's third reading amendment to Senate Bill 177. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Representative Geithner, you have a $2 fine. It's all. Yeah. Catlin, Huckes, Lewis, and Tipper. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, permission is granted. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 1. Oh yeah. Whoa. I move L002.
The question before us is the passage of L002, an amendment to Senate Bill 177. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Representative Singh. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, The L002 is passed. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 177 as amended.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 177 as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 177 is repassed as amended, or is passed as amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 256.
Senate Bill 256 by Senator Bridges, also Representative Escar, concerning appropriation made to implement House Bill 18-1299 concerning electronic documents related to the ownership of vehicle.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 256 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 256 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Sandridge and Van Winkle. Please close the machine. With 61 aye votes, 2 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 256 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 5. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over Senate Bill 5 till the end of the third reading calendar.
Seeing no objection, Senate Bill 5 will be laid over to the end of the third reading calendar. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 259. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over Senate Bill 259 till the end of the third reading calendar.
Seeing no objection, that bill will be laid over to the end of the third reading calendar. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 191.
Senate Bill 191 by Senators Bridges and Marble, also Representatives Harrod and Gonzalez Gutierrez, concerning defendants' rights related to pretrial bond.
Representatives Gonzalez Gutierrez.
I still have to.
Oh, Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 191 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I request permission for a third reading amendment.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the negotiations and conversations on this bill, we basically left in a technical error. So we're going to strike the lines meeting the requirement and substitute the word feasibility because there is no longer a requirement. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? The House will be in a brief recess. Okay. House Bill 191 will be laid over till the end of the third reading calendar. Oh, did I not? The House will come back to order. I didn't say that. Okay. That brings us to Senate. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 232.
Senate Bill 232 by Senator Foote, also Representative Weissman, concerning the codification of the rules of the Secretary of State addressing the procedures for the enforcement of state laws governing campaign finance.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 232 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 232 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members, please vote. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 23 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 232 is passed. Co-sponsors.
All right. Thanks. Yeah.
Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 15.
Senate Bill 15 by Senator Janal, also Representatives Beckman and Kipp, concerning the creation of the statewide health care review committee to study health care issues that affect Colorado residents throughout the state and in connection with the making appropriation.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 15 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 15 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members, please vote. Kelly. McKean, Hanson, Carver. Representative Carver, can you please vote? Thank you. Please close the machine. With 47 aye votes, 16 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 15 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 228.
Senate Bill 228 by Senators Winter, Moreno, also Representatives Montejo and Singer, concerning measures to prevent substance abuse in connection with requiring certain prescribers to complete substance use or training, prohibiting physicians for accepting benefits for prescribing specific medications, requiring opioid prescriptions to bear warning labels, allowing medical examiners access to the prescription drug monitoring program, providing funding to address opioid and substance use disorders through public health interventions in local communities, requiring state departments to report the receipt and eligibility of federal funds for HIV and hepatitis testing, requiring the Center for Research and Substance Use Disorder Prevention, Treatment, Recovery, Support strategies to develop and implement a program to increase public awareness concerning the safe use, storage, and disposal of antagonist drugs and making an appropriation.
They actually have to, that has to be audible.
We do live in Colorado. Edible.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 228 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 228 on third reading and final passage. Majority Leader, or Representative Singer. And
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Also, well done, Mr. Randall, as always. With that, I move for permission for a third reading amendment, also known as L046. I'm just trying to make the title longer, guys.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There's actually two things this amendment does. The first thing is it ensures that the Department of Human Services is able to create a newborn and family outcomes report and puts it under the correct department and holds it accountable to the SMART Act. The second thing it does is actually make sure that we are referring to the right medical professionals when we're dealing with prescribers instead of naming specific ones. And last but not least, it authorizes the Department of Human Services to conduct substance use research after the word program. So pretty exciting stuff. And I ask that the title be read at length. Just kidding about the last part.
Is there any further discussion? The question before us is Representative Singer, giving permission to Representative Singer to offer a third reading amendment. Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Representative Neville. Representative, please close the machine. With 45 aye votes, 18 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 228 is passed.
That was just my permission.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was just permission is granted. Representative Singer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move Amendment L046.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of L046 to Senate Bill 228. Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Kelly. Please close the machine. With 46 yes votes, 17 no votes, and 2 excused, L046 is adopted. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 228 as amended on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 228 as amended. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Please close the machine. With 43 aye votes, 20 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 228 is passed as amended. Co-sponsors. It's just with them rolling because the revisor still has to look at that stuff. But that's okay. Okay. So that means that we doing this one right now? Okay, but that's fine, we're gonna do it later. Please close the machine. Okay. Thank you. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think that the sponsors are ready, so I move to proceed out of order for immediate consideration of Senate Bill 191.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 191.
Senate Bill 191 by Senators Bridges and Marble, House Representatives Harrod and Gonzalez Gutierrez concerning defendants' rights related to pretrial bond.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 191 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us, Representative Gonzalez Gutierrez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I request permission for a third reading amendment.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment, thanks to the hawk eye of Representative Carver, noticed that we needed to change the word requirement in 2 places. So we changed the word requirement to feasibility in 1 and requirement to proposal in the 2nd. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, there have been a couple of changes to this bill since we saw it in judiciary. As you may recall, this bill had a number of measures to expedite the bond hearing. And again, this is when the individual has been charged, but there has not yet been a trial. And so part of the bill dealt with once the decision has been made to bond the person out, the bill sets certain guardrails in there on when that is to actually occur. And the sheriffs have indicated and counties have indicated that they're fine with that part of the bill. The part of the bill that had been problematic was the requirement to do the bond hearing in 48 hours, especially when this was going to trigger a requirement to have bond hearings over the weekend. And that was a big problem for a number of counties. So with the amendment in appropriations, which removed that 48-hour requirement and instead asked the DAs and the judicial branch to study the feasibility, which is what this additional language does, is to make it clear that they're going to look at the feasibility and what the costs would actually be, county by county, judicial district by judicial district, of holding bond hearings in 48 hours. And so with this amendment, with this change, the DAs and the counties are neutral on the bill, and I ask for support of the amendment and the bill.
Is there any further discussion? The question is permission to Representatives Harrods and Gonzalez Gutierrez for their third reading amendment. Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Catlin, please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no no votes, and 2 excused, permission is granted. Does someone want to move the amendment? Minority Leader Neville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move L034.
The question before us is the passage of Amendment L034. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Jackson and Kraft Third. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no no votes, and 2 excused, what number is it? L034 is passed. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 191 as amended on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 191 as amended. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Baisley, please close the machine. With 54 aye votes, 9 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 191 is passed. As amended. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Majority Leader Garnett.
Back on to 176.
We're to 176. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 176.
Senate Bill 176 by Senators Lundin and Bridges, also Representatives McCluskey and Geithner, considering measure to expand opportunities for students to earn post-secondary course credit while enrolled in high school and in connection with making appropriation.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 176 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 176 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Liston, Sandridge, Larson, and Bachenfeld. Bachenfeld. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 176 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 248.
Senate Bill 248 by Senators Tate and Bridges, also Representatives Singer and Baisley, concerning a requirement that the Director of Research of Legislative Council convene a working group to conduct an analysis of the state tax system used by the Department of Revenue and in connection with making an appropriation.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 248 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 248 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please vote. Catlin Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 248 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 007.
Senate Bill 007 by Senators Pedersen and Winter, also Representatives McLaughlin and Buckner, concerning the prevention of sexual misconduct on higher education campuses.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 7 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 7 on third reading and final passage. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Duran and McKean, please close the machine. With 54 aye votes, 9 no votes, and 2 excused, Senate Bill 7 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Randall, please read the title of House Bill 1334.
House Bill 1334 by Representative Sane, also Senator Marble, concerning a prohibition on disseminating an image of a suicide of a minor.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1334 on third reading and final passage.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, members. I request permission for a third reading amendment.
Please proceed.
And I'd like to move L015 and ask that it be displayed.
Can I get a copy? Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment is to name the bill after Lil Von Mercado, and it's going to be called Lil Von Mercado's Law. Lil Von was deeply and well-loved, and this Saturday is Lil Von's birthday. And this will be a wonderful present for his family and his community. And his family are here today, and I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? The question before us is permission to grant Representative Sane a third reading amendment. Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Representatives Snyder and Kraft-Tharp. Please close the machine. With 63 aye votes, no votes, and 2 excused, permission for a third reading amendment is granted. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1334. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Gosh, I move L15.
The question before us is the passage of L015. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Sandridge to Tone. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 1 no vote, and 2 excused, let's see, House Bill 1334, was that the amendment? The amendment passes. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move for the passage of House Bill 1334 as amended.
The question
On third
before
reading
us
and
is the passage of House Bill 1334 as amended. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Randall, please open the machine and members please vote. Coleman, Gonzalez, Gutierrez, Herod, Humphrey. Please close the machine. With 58 aye votes, 5 no votes, and 2 excused, House Bill 1334 is passed. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the third reading calendar until later today.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar, the third reading calendar will be laid over till later today. Members, we have a committee that is supposed to meet upon adjournment, so we will do announcements and introductions, and then that committee will meet. Oh, okay.
Are you okay?
So for those, Madam Speaker,
Representative Michelson Janae.
for those in the gallery wondering what on earth is going on, we have all pushed our page buttons. On our desk, we have a little white button that says page, and if we push it, the clerks come running out to say, what do you need? What can I get you? How can I help? We use it rarely because we like to actually go over there and talk to our clerks, but we are so fortunate to have such a wonderful group of people who help us. They file all of our bills. They help us make sure we have copies of everything we need. If we can't print something, Kathy's always happy to have us email it to her and she'll print it. If we have a hole in our dress, they have a sewing kit. And they always bring us food.
I was going to say, if you're having a hard time walking, they bring you cake.
They bring you cake. Would you like to add some more about how wonderful our clerks are?
Well, they really are. They spend their time filing when the filing cabinet is so overstuffed they can't get things in. They leave things on our desk if we ask them. They put them away if we ask them. They're just great. And if we push that button, they're right there. I didn't know we were pushing our button, so I didn't push my button.
No, go push your
I
button.
didn't push my button.
Well, big round of applause for our incredible clerks. Thank you for helping us do our work.
Majority Leader Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, the committees are going to meet. I think the idea is to have Hummers after lunch. There is still some more work that we have to do. So please be close to the chamber. I don't exactly know how it's all going to go, but that's kind of what happens in the last few days. So thanks for all your hard work. We will try to communicate as best we can. And if you have any questions, feel free to come up and ask.
Representative Michelson Janae.
Members, I know we're in a gleeful moment, but if I could please have your attention. We're requesting a combined moment of, it's not really a personal privilege, but we would like to address you as a body. Today is Yom HaShoah, which is Holocaust Remembrance Day. We did our resolution earlier because doing a Holocaust resolution on today, on a day of Hummers, it's not right. But we would be remiss if we did not spend a moment to recognize with the rest of the world who celebrates on or commemorates on this day the Shoah, which is the Hebrew word for Holocaust, which indicates the murder of the 6 million Jews by the Nazis, and the 11 million who were also murdered in the conflict of World War II and by the Nazis. So we wanted to just take a moment as a community, and since we spoke about Columbine this morning, I wanted to point out one of my jobs before I came here. I was director of a program called March of the Living. And what we did was we took teenagers to the concentration camps in Poland, at the Nazi concentration camps in Poland, and we took them to Israel. I happened to be at Auschwitz when Columbine happened. And I was there with a number of young students from all around Colorado, including the Columbine High School. And we were standing in Auschwitz, where so many of our relatives, our ancestors, were murdered. And we were trying to bring together that confluence of what was happening on April 20th here in Colorado while we were so far away in Poland, where what happened seems so far away and yet is ever present. Our survivors are so old at this point that only we may carry their stories forward, and only we may take from what has happened in our families and remember that it is our obligation to be present. It is our obligation to speak out. It is our obligation to speak up for those who have no voice to speak for themselves. And we say that, and yet if you look at the history books, the Jewish community was incredibly active in the arts, in education, in politics. And yet, one man brought a whole community behind them to wipe out those that weren't the same. How do we not ever let that happen again? And how can we be present to where things like that are indeed still happening in our world? On Yom HaShoah, we stop and we reflect for the Jews that we lost and for others who were caught up into this horrible tragedy. But it is not enough to reflect. We must figure out how to act.
Thank you, members. And with that, Majority Leader Gurnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will be in recess till later today.